And you're C,
Firstborn.
you too. You're C too.
It's too.
C
I forget it's
B.
too dark.
You're stuck with
A
M's.
B C D E F G H.
Okay. That the hello
Spoken like
everybody.
a true musician. Oh,
Uh,
I have notes. Where are my
I
notes?
was telling Mark about the kid Saturday that wanted to be a cat the entire class. So he's singing the ABC song. It's nyan 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 nyan, and I want him to stop being a cat. No, then he wanted to be a tiger, and then he attacked another boy. That wasn't cool. I mean, in a
that's
4-year-old way.
not cool. What I mean, what if it what if you meant attacked him as in you just like said that he
Like
was.
curb stomped him or something.
No, I was
No.
like, gonna say that that guy had his using ad hominem attacks or something.
Mm.
Internet attacked.
Oh yeah, that doesn't happen in a preschool classroom.
Oh, there we
No.
go. A B Chris. You think I'd find it? Yeah, easily. It begins with A. All right, there we go.
I thought it was the Ab Chrysalis, Chrysalis,
Well, the
Chrysler.
original title of this was A B C Chrysalis, but you know,
Oh, but
it
that
wasn't. That's
that
not in the
did.
trivia because I didn't think it was interesting.
Was this written by the same guy who wrote A, B, C, A, B, and C for the prisoner? Because he's here
I
now, right?
wish.
Terrence Miller.
Yeah.
He
No,
just
I
keeps
I
writing
don't
scripts with
think.
letters.
It's just it's like the spider in the Superman movie where it's just like the one guy is just like, look, you should really make this episode about three people called A, B, and C.
He's like, I know the keyboard is not in the alphabetic order, but I can make it do it. I know where the letters are. I know my ABCs. Although I did, what was it recently? Oh, when I was making that little photo book we sent to like my relatives, and we're using his computer, and in the keyboard, it's like a touch screen, but it is just like A B C D E F G, but it's set up like a keyboard, and it was confusing as hell.
Ah. No, the guy who wrote A, B, and C did not write for Space 1999. He did write Thriller, Sunday Night Thriller, and Saturday Night Thriller. And Cat's Eyes. There you go. CATS Eyes. That's an
Mm,
acronym.
okay, he likes
It's an
letters.
all-female detective outfit.
Mm.
Covert activities, Thames section.
Tim's.
Okay, Tim's. It's
Yeah.
Spelled
I
River
believe it's
Thames.
pronounced Thames. Thames.
Thames. They should have
That
called it
confused me
the
as a kid. I was
Dames.
like,
Same
what is
here.
why is it spelled themes and they pronounce it Tim's?
Should have called it
Because
Dames of Thames.
because
Mm.
England, that's why. Oh, so
Yeah.
what's the weather like? Weather report. How's Atlanta today?
How's Atlanta? It's bright and sunny, and it rained for an hour earlier, but it was a long time ago.
It's weirdly cold here. It's colder than it usually
You
is in
said it
June.
was weird. You said it was weirdly cold for June.
Yeah,
I heard
it's
you
still
telling
weirdly
Dorian
cold for
that.
June. Yeah.
It's 101 here.
Oh,
Just
that
so you
sucks.
know.
Okay. Let's here. I'll tell you what
We
the
got a heat dome coming in.
yeah.
Damn.
Let's see what it is here. What it be? It is currently 16 degrees, which means what does that mean? I think I can change it.
50.
Okay,
Double it and
it's
add 32.
I'm just guessing.
yeah, sure. It's probably like 52 or 3 or something, but it's a brisk, right? It
Yeah,
gets
that's kind
going
of
up to
cold.
24. 24, what's 24? 76. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
20 is like 68 Fahrenheit, right? Something like that.
At 20 is room temperature, I believe.
I have this
20.
pass for this I have two
Yeah.
passes for this amusement park that I need to use in the next like 2 days, and I just keep putting it off because I want to make money and it's stupid.
And you want to talk about
Uh,
Superman, right?
oh yeah, I'm going to talk about Superman.
Gotta make
I have plenty to
stupid
talk
money.
about.
Tomorrow is Superman 4, The
Super.
Quest for Peace.
I put in my notes the quest for piss. I don't know.
Did you find your friend who wanted to talk about Superman 4, Chuck?
Oh no,
Um,
he's working and too busy or whatever.
so
Oh,
Matt, which by the way, can you give me like maybe we can talk about this later. I just want some potential dates for Jaws 3 so I could just tell these people, hey, how about these dates? And they'll probably just say they can't do it anyway. And I just want that shit over with.
I could probably tell you that now. For why don't we tell them June 19th or 26th
Okay.
and see what they say. I'll think both of those are safe. What was I was going to say something of slight interest. Something
Yeah,
before.
Brian, I have like a lot of flaky friends, and these are like possibly the flakiest. Where I texted them asking them, "Hey, you guys maybe want to do Jaws 3 soon? Are you still interested?" And about a week later, they're like, "How soon is soon? Did we miss it already?" I'm just like, what
I
did
think
I
I think Atlanta's
say?
just flaky in
Christ.
general. I remember in high school a lot, making plans with people. It never happened like on the regs.
It's like the thing where we're turning into New York, but like in a fucking bad way. Like there are things that people complain about in New York that we basically like the I was told many years ago that like if you go to New York and you're in one borough, then don't expect somebody in another borough to even come and hang out with you because it's too far away.
Mm.
And that's happening here now where it's like, if people move to another part of town, I'm like, well, I'll never see you again. Bye.
Well,
And
you should go get the Doctor Who set in another borough. That's apparently been
yeah.
found.
And we're apparently the most surveilled, like one of the most surveilled cities in the country. And food is super expensive and it's gentrifying in a annoying way.
Mm.
So like, it's it's not great. I'm thinking about just moving to Ohio or Detroit or something so I can get some like some like
Slums of Detroit.
gritty city shit back. You know what I mean? Like and cheap street food.
Mm.
Like you can get yeah, that I mentioned this on I don't remember which podcast I mentioned on, but like the burrito place where it was like the guy on the street selling burritos where the city shut him down and then he came back selling $14 burritos. Well, now his $14 burrito restaurant is closing. Probably because nobody wants to buy a fucking $14
14, right.
burrito. I've eaten there
That's probably
exactly
what a
once.
Mission burrito cost in San Francisco. I'm sure at least $14.
Yeah.
Because
It sucks, but I'm like,
we
I
have
wasn't gonna eat there every week. It was never gonna fucking happen.
Mhm.
I can't do that, you know.
Yeah, we
Uh,
have this little bubble of inflation in Japan where everything's gone up like 30% recently, but except your wage, that did not go up 30%.
yep.
Yikes.
No,
I
I
won't tell
I
you
was
how
like,
I'm like going to be eaten alive by insurance companies who don't want to insure anybody in California for any purpose. And so they're going to charge you
oh
through the
man.
nose for it. And it's kind of sucks.
Are you like close to a fire prone area, or is that just everyone close to a fire prone area there? Or is I don't
Well, I
entirely
don't know. Fire prone, you would be, I'm thinking woods and stuff. And I
yeah.
mean, yeah, there's grasslands and stuff outside of town. I don't know, but I haven't really. I mean, we went through some one or two local fires during the big fire season a few years
Yeah.
ago.
I know like Florida is as bad or worse, but it's like there are already enough reasons not to live in Florida that if I lived in Florida, I would just have left. It would be so easy of a decision.
Well, like
Except
last year, yeah, my bank said, your homeowner's insurance is no longer existing, so you need to find a new one. And if you don't, we'll find it for you. And I'm like, okay. So they found one for me, and of course, my rates went up, which they said they would. And then it happened again this year. It's like, oh, by the way, your homeowner's insurance, they're leaving now too. So we'll find you some new ones if you want us to. And in the meantime, I'm like looking at other places. I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead. You can't get any worse than what I'm going to find on the street anyway. So
oh God.
it's
That happened to my
ridiculous.
mom once, but it was something like her roof needed replacement, so Allstate decided to drop her. It's like, and she was paying, she's paid her own money to replace the roof, but they were just like, I guess sorry, your house is too risky since you have a roof that needs to be replaced. I don't entirely understand it, but
in Japan, the
that's
insurance guy will come to your house and bow and apologize when your insurance is getting cut.
that's nice. Can
At least you get something.
I mean,
You
if
get a
it's bad enough,
modicum of sorrow.
if it's bad enough, does he commit seppuku because he get you insurance if you're
No,
uninsurable?
no.
Am I not supposed to think that's funny?
No, that happened like 10 years ago because my wife was trying to get life insurance on me because she wanted me to die. But since I wasn't a Japanese citizen, they couldn't do it. So the guy came over and apologized and was
And he
bowing and
committed
stuff.
seppuku.
Yeah. In our living room, yes.
Wait a minute. What
Oh
was the lead
God
on
damn
this?
it.
She wanted you to die?
I think it was as much a joke as me talking about I want a guy to kill himself.
Yeah, that's just Rodney Dangerfield and take my wife, please stuff, right?
Yeah. Classics never die.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
back to podcasting. Hey, speaking of your friends, Mark, you just reminded me. You ever talk to Millie? See if she wants to do a movie.
Oh man, I haven't talked to her recently. She's doing a DJ set at some bar tomorrow. I might just go hang out or something, but
Unless you go to the amusement park.
Well, it's like
picture Films and Filth. I'm sure she'd probably get a kick out of it.
I'm sure she would really like doing it. It's just like a thing where I almost never talk to people in any other way besides going out and running into them. So I'm so not used to like messaging people. That sounds
damn.
ridiculous.
Jaws 3D is coming up. Okay, this week is Neverending Story 3. Next week's Dust. Okay, well, those dates I told you are fine, but not past that.
Okay. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting them to say no. So
okay.
I'd rather just get the no rather than them messaging me a week later being like, what?
Even if we start the call and 10 minutes in they're not there, we just do the episodes. Jaws 3D, who cares? Next week, I actually might not be able to do a space because I had to reschedule a Twilight Zone. So it's that Wally, 2 Twilight Zones, and then I guess probably I don't know, Thursday. Yeah, we'll work it out. But so maybe it might be 2 weeks for the next space, but that's the Catacombs. So
yeah,
like I said, they swapped the order of just those 2 episodes on the Blu-ray.
There were a couple others down the scene. It seems like these filmed in tandem episodes sometimes are in the other order. Like if you listen to Helena's days since they left Earth orbit, I think we are actually doing it wrong.
Yeah, apparently
I don't know if they really paid attention to that any more than Gene Roddenberry paid attention to star dates.
Right, but if you do actually do those dates in order, like we would have flipped like Luton and New Adam, New Eve, or Luton and the Mark of Arcanon maybe were flipped, something like that. I don't remember what the flips were, but there were a couple flips. So where
that's no big whoop.
Again, I'm just going by what this set with the weird plot descriptions tells me.
What's so funny? I finally pulled the box down and realized this is what he's talking about. Only they're even longer and weirder.
Yeah, you have longer, weirder ones than I have
from 2000 than the ones you got. That's so funny.
Yeah. Let's see what this one says. Well, that's the next.
Let's see where I don't have the list in front of me either. I just go by the files in the folder. Where are they? Oh, they're almost here. Oh yeah, season 2. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently
Rules
there
of
was
Luton.
Yeah, some thought put into the dates that Helena says when they aired it, or before they aired it. I have no idea.
Oh, this one's not interesting. No, this is not as good as New Adam, New Eve by a long shot. The moon is attacked by powerful shock waves. It's up to Carter, Maya, and Koenig to find out what causes them before the moon is obliterated. It doesn't have for you. This is the first day of creation. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was way over the top. So yeah, we have let's see, Brian the Brain, you had me A B, and then Catacombs. Yeah, Seed of Destruction.
Yeah, maybe I'll just skip this week because I guess at this point we might as well just skip 1 week and let it rip, since we won't do one next week.
Oh, you want us to not broadcast one this week?
I think I'm just not going to broadcast one this week. Yeah, and then we'll just be back where we were because next week seems to be not my fault. It's not great next week. So, was there? Am I forgetting a movie we scheduled? No.
Next week?
Yeah,
I think we only have Wall-E scheduled.
Yeah, that's fine because we're like several weeks ahead for that, so that's fine. We don't have to do a Films and Filth. We can do the one next week, and then it works. And then after that, Luke wants Jay and Mercy for Princess Mononoke, so he'll have to arrange that. We can just do Spy Kids 4. I don't think anyone wants to come on for that. Caper Nom.
I guess
I don't even know what that is.
Phil if he wants to come on for Spy Kids 4 since he was defending the what the other one.
Does he want to
I'll have
defend
to
Spy
remind
Kids
myself.
4 though?
I think he does. I think he likes it, but I'll have to remind myself that
Mm-mm.
using a reminder.
Still got. We need a fifth for Spice World. Brian, do you want to do Spice World?
Oh,
We need a
who's out?
fifth.
Is Luke still out? Sorry.
We need a fifth. Wait. Oh,
So,
you
because we have
we
to.
need because there are 5 Spice Girls. Is that why?
Correct.
Okay.
So we have to work out who is
I
which
should
Spice
give that
Girl.
one to Shaney because her kids were really into Spice Girls back in the 90s.
Right. Except
So
if
what
we're
do you-
trying to work
sure
out who the Spice Girls are, and it's 4 dudes
I
and 1 lady, it might
I
be kind
th-
of confusing.
I think I'm probably Sporty Spice, but I can't remember.
Well, you're not sure, are you? We don't know yet.
Where's Spice World?
Yeah.
Well, that's way
I
down
have
the
to
list
watch it.
already.
You're
Got
right.
Wall-E.
Yeah, we'll be
Okay.
doing that in July, but I was talking yesterday. We need a fifth for that, so we can all work out who is which Spice Girl.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I might
Well,
be
I guess
Scary
it
Spice.
kind
I
of
don't know.
dilutes the joke if you actually have a woman on the show.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
Because you have
getting
5 guys.
We should just combine it. Can we just combine it with a Dune podcast at the same time?
Huh?
Get
Why?
it, Spice? Because
Oh,
of Spice.
okay. No, I didn't get it because I
No,
had to ask.
so that's not a good enough joke then. If you didn't get it right away.
I mean,
It's not
I got it.
Melange World. Come on.
Once you said Spice twice, I got it, but you had to say it twice.
Melange
Twice.
World.
Twice
It's a new
Spice.
ride. So you're not going to have Chuck tomorrow on your Superman 4
No,
quest?
we got John Armenia, right?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I still have not seen that movie.
He probably
Guess
knows
now
at
I'm
least
gonna
as
have
much about comics as Chuck does. So
well, I'm sure I'll say it's a podcast, but the
maybe
thing is,
more.
it's fun to watch, and I enjoy the shitty effects. But if it was 1987 and you were going to see the new Superman film, you'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" Kind of like Star Trek 5. I love Star Trek 5 now, but I do remember seeing it actually a preview night. It was before opening night, and even at 10 years old, I was like, "This is kind of crappy."
I'm gonna say I liked Star Trek 5 better than Superman 4. I did not like
I
it.
agree.
Except when they were fighting, it was cool that there were a bunch of hand-drawn effects just because it was the 80s and you had to do that. But
You mean like rotoscoped, like somebody drew it on the film sort of effects?
yeah, like
Oh,
that
God.
kind of shit where it's like kind of like he's like Nuclear Man is all just going like and it's like shit
Yeah, I
glowing.
guess the 80s was probably the end of that era.
I'm not sure I've ever actually watched Superman 3 straight through.
I've never seen it at all.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what that.
So there
I
you
guess
go.
that's like Luke keeps saying, like, Richard Pryor was like in awe of being a Superman movie, so he didn't want to be funny, and the writers didn't
was
write him any
there.
jokes.
Yeah, I was there on opening day of Superman 3. I remember I was, and I was kind of wondered at the end, why did I bother to get up early and come down here for this?
I'm gonna be mostly the outsider because I saw Superman 1 in like 2010, and then I saw the Donner version of Superman 2, and that's it.
Oh,
And
okay.
and I saw Man of Steel and did not like it. And I saw Batman v Superman and honestly thought that was better than Man of Steel, but still bad.
Yeah,
I'm not a Superman guy.
DC does have a thing recently, as in past 10 years, of making like very watchable films that are not good.
I think they've made good films that are they have. It's like the only way they can make good films is if they use characters that have failed somehow. Like it's like they haven't figured this out. It's like that what's generally considered the best run of Batman is post Batman and Robin. Batman Birds of Prey was great, which basically was a Harley Quinn movie after she'd been in like 2 or 3 bombs.
I
The
still need to
Suicide
watch
Squad
that.
movie was
I
good.
still need to watch that. Yeah.
Oh, that was great. You'll absolutely enjoy those movies. They're very good.
No, these are things here. I just need to get around to it. So,
but Black Adam was total shit. And what else? That might be the
Blue
only thing I've
Beetle?
even watched lately. I didn't
Blue
watch
Beetle.
it.
Okay.
Didn't see it. I
might
heard it
watch
was
it.
good actually, and I've heard some people like Aquaman, but I haven't watched that either.
It's on my computer, but I mean Blue Beetle, but I
I
haven't
don't
watched
care.
it.
Oh, Wonder Woman. I liked Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, I
It's
never
like
saw 84, but everyone said it sucked. So,
yeah, same.
I guess we should jump into this. So let's leave a pause
Okay.
and get rolling.
Let's do the real the fiction. All right. Welcome to Podcast 1999, the podcast about Space 1999. I'm your host, Mark. A.
I'm you're Mark A. Okay.
That
Now
is
you've
my middle
confused me.
initial.
I am B.
B.
You can take
And
C
this
if you
is
want.
Matt C.
Yeah, and I was
Look, I
just gonna
did
go
it.
with I was
It
gonna
just
go with my hip hop
naturally
name.
happened.
I'm just gonna use my hip hop name, which is MCMC.
MC.
Okay, sure. Master of Ceremonies, Matthew
DJ Bueller.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Um,
we're back, baby. This episode was actually good. Who would
Right.
have thought? Who would
Right.
have thought?
You just like the nudity, is it?
Or it was good. I liked it. It was a good
It was
episode.
good
Yeah.
nudity.
I liked the episode. Is that crazy?
No, right in the middle.
nobody
I
else
have
like
a
it?
note here. I have a note. The rest of this episode may prove me wrong, but this one seems baller so far. And then it kept being pretty baller, so good for it. Alan
Yeah.
Carter gets to do stuff. Tony's missing for some reason. Maybe it's in your trivia.
Yeah.
I am I hate to say it, man. Maybe Tony was just dragging us down for the last 50 episodes.
I got that feeling too, and
Woo!
especially I did feel like it's. Well, again, I guess we need to get to your trivia, but I almost felt like the Alan Carter in this one was almost like written for Victor Bergman. Like he
could
just the
be.
way he was talking to Koenig, like on the Eagle when they get to the planet, was very Bergman-y sounding stuff, you know?
I mean,
Anyway, I don't
I
know.
hoped he'd rub off on them after a while, someone would take up the mantle.
He's got his Katra on him, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, all they have is Maya as a science person, but Naya never knew Victor, so couldn't
Victor did
espouse wisdom like Victor did.
as Victor was dying, he did a remember on Alan Carter, so maybe that's what's happening.
Yeah, of course. Everyone knows that's what happened.
Doesn't work with humans, by the way, but you can try.
Well, maybe he's just a Vulcan the whole time. He's just wearing little caps on his ears.
Okay.
Trivia.
Yes.
11th in production order for season 2. This is the only season 2 episode that doesn't feature Tony Anholt, since it's another one of the double up episodes filmed simultaneously with next week's, which is what he was off doing. This will be the last appearance of Yasko for a while because Yenny Merton will return next week in that aforementioned episode that is filming right now. But Yasko will be back one more time to fill in for Merton's next replacement. Dun, dun, dun. Director Val Guest is back for this episode. You last saw his work on The Rules of Luton. He'll be back for one more after this. Tony Barwick is back on writing duties for his second and final time on the show, his previous contribution being One Moment of Humanity. Also kind of good. Robert Rietti voices the Spheres. You may remember him as the voice of several Italians last season. This is sadly his only credited voiceover for season 2. And now for what I would call the most extra supporting cast that we've ever had on this show. As A, we have Ina Skryver, born in Denmark in 1945. She only has a few credits, but among them are It's Not the Size That Counts, Voyage of the Damned, and Victor Victoria. When she made The Golden Lady in 1979, she changed her name to Christina World, just so the movie's credits would read, starring Miss World. But in her biography, she refuses to acknowledge that Ina and Christina are the same person. In 1983, she retired from acting as she married Thomas Ayala Godfrey Gage, a scion of the Anglo-Irish Gage family of County Kerry. I don't know what that means, but it sounds
Yeah,
pretty
just spit
important.
that out.
I did. Sarah Douglas appears as B. She was born in 1952 in Stratford upon Avon in the UK. She has a wildly impressive resume if you're into a certain type of genre film. She had appearances in Rollerball, Conan the Destroyer, Beastmaster 2, Sledgehammer, and Return of the Living Dead 3. She also played Ursa in Superman's 1 and 2, and even starred as the wife of Andre Toulon in Puppet Master 3, playing opposite New Adam, New Eve guest Guy Rolfe from last week. She's still with us today and seemingly still working with several podcast credits through the 2020s. Finally, as the Guardian's brother, we have David Sebastian Bach. This is his only acting credit on IMDb besides appearing as himself in Pebble Mill Showcase the same year as this episode. But I did painstaking research, meaning I Googled his official website, because IMDb was no help because the link to his official bio directs to www.pageants.can.b.murder, which is a reference to a murder mystery that he ran in 2009. I found out he was born in Canada, did lots of stage work and seemingly toured a lot as a musician and recorded several German singles in the 70s, including a cover of You've Lost That Love and Feelin'. He ran several murder mystery dinner theaters, as I mentioned, and now he fronts a 7-piece jazz ensemble called Ear Candy. His website also claims that he is the 5th generation grandson of Johann Sebastian Bach, quote, and has performed for the Queen of England. And his bio ends with the sentence, "Me, Bach, is the real deal. I am ashamed to report that I spent way too much time obsessing over this and found nothing to confirm or deny his relation to that Sebastian Bach. He's also not related to Sebastian Bach from Skid Row, who is Canadian, but his birth name is Sebastian Björk." And that's the trivia.
All right.
I had way too
What
much
about the
fun.
story? What about the story?
What about the story? The moon has been dealing with incessantly strong shockwaves every 12 hours. Soon a planet appears in the distance as clearly the source of the waves. Koenig, Maya, and Alan Carter take an eagle to the planet to try and find a way to stop the shockwaves. They land on the closest moon and find metallic domes that are the source of the energy readings that Maya has been picking up. Koenig discovers an entrance but gets struck by an electrical charge. Alan joins him as they discover a probe that gives them a breathable atmosphere from Earth, and then gives them the bad news that the only ones who can stop the explosions causing the shockwaves are the probe's masters, who have not been born yet. Maya warns them that the station's power level is rising, so they race back to the ship, and Koenig decides that he has to risk landing on the planet itself. They pass through a layer of chlorine gas and land on a lift that takes them below the planet's surface. Another probe greets them and tells them that their masters breathe chlorine, and they are in a chrysalis stage, waiting to be reborn. Koenig asks if he could speak to anyone and is informed that a guardian is keeping watch while the others sleep. The Elfins are disarmed and brought to the centers of rejuvenation. The probe then announces that it's too late, and the guardian has already entered the chrysalis stage. The coffin containing the guardian starts sliding away, but Alan desperately tries to stop it from leaving the room, which accidentally breaks the seal, and the probe floods the room with chlorine gas to try to save the guardian. Maya becomes a creature that breathes chlorine and rescues Alan, and they all return to the ship. Koenig returns to the probe and he orders that the explosions be stopped or that they will be fired upon with lasers. And then he's hit with another energy weapon. Alan and Koenig both recover as a female voice informs them that 2 of the masters have been reborn. They're named A and B. When they put it to a vote whether to stop the explosions, A votes yes and B votes no. The next to be reborn will cast the deciding vote, but he happens to be the brother of the Guardian that Alan almost killed, and he's petty enough to vote no. Koenig decides that he will appeal to the masters and tells them that loyalty is better than logic, hope is better than despair, and creation is better than destruction. Then the Elfins leave in the Eagle, even though the masters say they are welcome to stay, and they don't have enough fuel to reach the moon. As they're heading back and the final explosion is imminent, Koenig addresses Alpha and tells them that they all did a great job, but they will all be going quietly into the night. But the final explosion happens. It turns out it has been controlled and directed to only propel the Eagle back to Moonbase Alpha and not destroy anything. And Koenig realizes that he got through to the aliens after all. The end.
So the Moonbase wiki, I forget exactly what it's called. I looked at that because there's no proper wiki page, and it noted,
something.
Yeah, it noted that Alan Carter probably has permanent lung damage now. You don't just recover.
You think so?
You don't just breathe chlorine.
Yeah, because
that was in my notes. Yeah, I said, yeah, I don't think you're gonna bounce back from that one, Alan.
No, I mean you can somewhat recover, but yeah, you got permanent lung damage. So
it's Moonbase Alpha Wiki. We should shout them out since I've definitely taken a lot of stuff from there.
Right. Okay. Good. You got, because I have not been. I've just been normal wikiing it. Let's see. What have I written?
Which wiki is that? Is that a fandom wiki or
yes, it is.
Okay.
Which
there's also Catacombs of the Moon, which is a really old Space 1999 site. It's got a lot of stuff on it.
Shout outs to them too. I think I've gotten some stuff from there. But yeah, the fandom one probably is
.net, I think. I'm not sure.
What's fandom owned by Rupert Murdoch now or something? I mean, it's probably not ethical anyway.
Let's see, what quotes did I write down this week? I wrote, I was happy to see the evacuate sign was used again. It's useful. It's good they put those in there. Giant evacuate sign. Spatial explosions of unknown origin, and that sounds like a 20-minute long Yes track from the mid-70s.
I love
so I like that. Oh, and my favorite quote though was, "There's some sort of a ooh." That was my favorite quote.
I think fandom is privately owned and not owned by Rupert Murdoch, so I want to retract that really quick.
No, Foxdom is owned by Rupert Murdoch.
Oh no, that sounds like when a fox like a lady dressed as a fox like ties you up and puts a gag on you.
Okay, I know what sites you've been doing searches on. So what did you think? I did think the whole evacuation sequence was pretty cool, and it actually justified for once because Alpha did get pretty screwed up. So
Yeah.
I was wondering, how does it affect Moonbase but not the Eagles? I didn't quite catch that of the
I think they
shockwave.
hid behind the moon.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
smart of them. Good job.
was what because they
It actually makes sense. They launched a rescue team to so it wouldn't get damaged, and then come back down later. And you're left wondering how many times did they have to go through this? They said weeks, every 12 hours or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's kind of like Battlestar Galactica 33
I was about to
every
say that,
33
yes.
minutes.
Although 12
Yeah.
hours is better. You can take a nap in there, I guess. Although I guess you gotta repair and stuff. So yeah, only a few people get naps. Well, that's what happened in 33 as well, right? The couple people were allowed to cat nap.
What's like, how are you
Exactly.
supposed to sleep? You're just gonna be like, oh man, I'm just gonna have to get up and explode again. I can't sleep.
Well,
I guess if you're tired enough.
give it a few weeks and see what happens,
Yeah, you're right.
The one thing I would have liked to have seen was a little bit more, damage from the previous attacks, the previous explosions. Like start out with main mission or command center being kind of, ragged around the edges, and smoke pouring out some things from the last one,
Last
guess it's like-
procedure. Everyone, last procedure.
Make sure Barbara Bain's hair is all messed up. Like, you bet you could get that done, right? No,
she won't. I don't think she's going to mess up her hair for the show.
Absolutely not. Never.
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 And then, of course, things were tracking. Koenig really just wants to get in a ship with Maya again and fly off to his planet. Of course, Alan Carter does fly it this time, so there's a third.
Do you think that's sort of a thing where Koenig is like behaving himself because it's just Maya and Alan there and nobody's? I don't know.
That's why Helene's so jealous at the end, right? With taunting him about
you get to hang out with naked alien women and Maya because you're hanging out with Maya all the time. Yeah, that seems kind of weird.
I mean,
and it said in the original script after that she throws her comm badge at him.
I mean, her comm lock.
Comm lock, excuse me. Yeah, she throws her comm lock at him after saying that, which should have been in the show, but they freeze framed instead.
So if Maya turned into a naked woman, would that mean that she couldn't she actually wasn't naked because the nudity would be?
She's already naked because
I've broken my brain.
It's like the Odo thing. Like, is she wearing it? She can't be wearing a uniform because she changed into other stuff. So she's already naked. The uniform is her.
Wow, that Helena would be mad if she thought about that.
Yeah, well, she is mad. She probably thought about that.
So you're saying that Alan was kind of like the chaperone on this flight, kind of keeping Koenig from getting a little too flirty. At least Koenig didn't say "good girl, Maya" this week.
Well, you know what he did.
For more patronizing of Maya, yeah.
I rewound this several times. He did call her Aya. When Alan calls the gas leak, he's like, "Come on, Aya."
Nah, he's probably just doing an accent thing. That's an accent
100%. He said, "Come on, Aya." I
they
swear.
Just let that slide. It's like, it's a good enough take. Let's go on to the next take.
He was just so happy to have an actual role this week.
No, that was Koenig. Alan's lines then were. I mean, he was saying things, but not for too long.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an episode where it's like, existential dread is back in the mix for the first time this season. I'd say this is the dreadiest episode we've gotten so far with the,
I think there was
unknown
dread.
terror.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
there was dread in One Moment of Humanity.
Yeah, a little bit there, although that was more like weird cucking. Yeah,
but those robots were, they could have killed everybody. It's not like
true.
They just couldn't kill everybody. But
I guess the whole just let them berate you and don't react.
Yeah, but this was that relentless attack after attack after attack. Like the reason you like 33 is the same story. It's just that like I said, I would like to have seen some more evidence of the fatigue they were under. All we saw was suddenly everybody's scrambling, and Alan and the Fleet of Eagles are leaving, and we're all left going, what's going to happen? But
Also, I'd like to point out that I know it's a simple trick, like they bounced a ball and filmed it backwards and slowed it down. I loved it, and I loved the sound, the synthesizer note when the ball was just going like.
Oh yeah, lots of
That was
Rover
great.
vibes in this episode.
I
as
loved
balls.
it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I called it
Super
like the
cool.
High Council of Rovers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what's behind you.
and that set was extremely like something that would be on The Prisoner as well.
Yeah, great
I think
stuff.
they took the same rock walls and repainted them a couple times because in one place they're red and another place they're yellow.
Well, yeah, you got to have your Planet Hell set, right?
But all the
Yep.
floors are like, glossy marble.
I guess it made me think a little bit about the weirdness of the Guardian of Piri planet sets a little bit. Not, it wasn't quite as like it wasn't on as many shrooms as that one was, but
I mean, it was it's still a stripped down episode compared to what we were getting in season 1, but I didn't miss whatever it stripped away.
yeah, it had a
I
few
guess is
trippy effect
more
shots.
actors. That's pretty much what it stripped away, was a lot more actors.
Yeah, we keep getting the Tim and Eric style space explosions, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, I guess the one disappointment, this might be this might be partly a budget thing when they are going to finally enter the alien dome. I'm sitting there like, oh, is this going to turn out to be like a Logan's Run sort of city, City of the Domes? And we did get that with the Darians, didn't we? But here,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
here we got like a room of balls.
Yeah, I can't compare this to Darien because Darian's was a big epic adventure, and this just can't be that. Like that. This is like, maybe you could compare this to a third of that episode, maybe.
Oh yeah, money wise, but again,
But it's
you
still
can work
good.
a good script. You can work
Yeah.
out on, if it's written to be a little cheaper, as I'm sure a lot of season 2.
Right.
Well, 100% sure a lot of season 2 episodes were. I mean, what
like-
was? Have we looked up the budgets? Did you like say that at the beginning of the season or something? I don't remember what the budget differences are.
I don't have that information.
We'll
in
have to
front of me.
check
I
that
don't
out.
know
I mean,
if
it's on
necessary.
screen. You can tell, but I am curious.
You're reminding me. I do have a copy of the making of book from the 70s, which was written around the time of season 2. So it might have some of that data in it. I just had to bring it down from
maybe.
the high shelf.
What? It is interesting. It's not till like the 80s that people start really getting obsessed with box offices and budgets.
Yeah,
because now
we had blockbusters, right? From Jaws on, we
Right.
had major motion pictures that were making hundreds
So-
of millions. That was unheard of.
So by the early
Yeah.
80s, like, before, if you were looking for the top 10 of that week, you'd probably have to look for a trade paper. Whereas by the 80s, USA Today is telling it to you on the first page of entertainment. So,
And I think that's actually very bad. And it causes people, it's something for people to think about, that they have no
Because
real.
it's all a race for money. Yeah.
Well, it's something like, I don't know. I'm sort of a public transit supporter to the point where I get annoyed when people are like, this line cost $12 billion and it only is so many miles. And like, people are doing math without any meaningful, like the new Mission Impossible movie is gone past 400 million. That doesn't really mean anything. Like, we don't know where that money is going. Tom Cruise could be getting 100 million of it for all I know, which effectively means that much money is not really part of the budget. It's just they're paying this one guy to sell the movie. You might as well call it marketing if one of the star of a movie is paid like a ridiculous proportionate amount.
of course, in the streaming COVID post-apocalypse, I feel like people don't know much anymore. What's successful and what's not. So it is more like, do I like this? I think I like this. I don't know if it's successful.
Well, it's like the most recent bomb has been Furiosa, which I loved, and I'm fully in this subreddit where they're like, look, it's doing great in Korea and Japan. It might be success. Like, this is not something we should have to worry about. You know what I mean?
Funny.
Like, it's not my problem. I love the movie.
I don't.
It's not my problem if it makes its budget
Uh-huh.
back. I went to see it and I'll go to see it again. But like this is not, I don't think that it's like
And you can't expect an
healthy.
80-year-old man to make another one. So it's like the last Indiana Jones. It was like, oh, it's a flop. It's like, come on, Harrison's probably. I'm surprised he's making this one. You know.
And I didn't
I
hear
don't
that
even
Furiosa was a bomb per se. I guess financially, I always heard
mm.
fairly decent things about the film, so I assumed the film was doing well. But I was
That's what
wrong.
I heard. But yeah,
It
I
got
did
really
hear.
good reviews.
Yeah.
But it got good reviews, but I don't know how much of it is like backlash or whoa, it's not Mad Max in it or whatever. But you know, it's just the thing is, I understand if you have a reason not to see a movie to not go see it, or if you don't like it, you tell people that it's bad. But like it really, I don't think that I want to participate in a whole bunch of regular discourse in at like a party about like the finances of a movie studio because that is so far outside of my control. And in some cases, people are making the movie have no control over it. I mean, that kind of stuff is just a bunch of jerks in a room deciding the stuff, or I don't know, Fred Freiberger in a room.
Yeah, all that said, I am curious what the actual difference is between season 1 with all the Italian money and season 2 with seeming to be much lower budget is.
Yeah. I mean,
So, well, maybe we'll get back to
if
you on that.
if all the episodes were this good, I wouldn't complain. It's like the things that complain about is like shoddy writing,
Yeah.
which is you can write a great sci-fi with no money at all, really. I mean, I could definitely name a few modern films with just
I guess they did keep that Italian voiceover guy around, right? Because you said he was in this one.
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
just this one, it was kind of like,
yeah.
hey, throw you a buck, come and get in our sound booth.
It's funny. I thought that guy sounded like Christopher Lee for a minute in the first voice. Hello, I am Voice Cube.
I
Yeah.
definitely thought it might be some British luminary, but yeah, it's it is an interesting for us dissecting a series on a podcast. It makes sense for us to think about budget and things like that. I'm just saying I'm exhausted by how front and center that discourse is for everything casually all the time because
See, I guess
really,
I just don't have these conversations with people much. I have them on podcasts, and like, I live in Japan. I'm talking to my coworkers. We're not really keeping up on the American or the Japanese box office for that matter. So
yeah.
it doesn't come up as much.
But also part of what a movie studio is for, or a TV studio, is that not everything is going to make money. And maybe you take some of the money from, what is it, Warner Brothers? You take some of your like Superman money and you put it into the Mad Max movie as your little prestige thing that might just break even because that's what having money is about. Like you know what I mean? Like I will use some of my money to make money, but I'll also use some of my money to help somebody out
Yeah.
or
I thought the money
buy a
went to the
plant.
CEO and the shareholders. That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Your
Well,
mid-budget movies are just no longer
Not
considered
about
to be
actually reinvesting back into
efficient.
the studio making interesting art. Okay.
so there are some people doing that, but yeah, not a lot of people with hundreds of millions of dollars are doing that, if any. Which is why we should just ignore those movies if they're bad. If they're good, then go see them. Why not?
Right.
I'll probably go see whatever Star Trek movie ever comes out ever again, whatever that is. What is it? Oh God, is Section 31 movie happening? I don't.
But that's not in the theaters. That's like a streaming
Okay,
thing, I think.
sure,
I don't
I'll
know.
watch
Who
it.
knows these days?
For the
I had a
record,
question
okay, go ahead.
about movie. Okay, I have a question about movie cliches. Does anybody know the origin of the cliche where two guys go outside and one guy says, "It's quiet tonight," and the other guy goes, "Yeah, too quiet." What is that from? That's got to be from some movie in like the 40s or something.
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna guess a
It's been
film noir or
repeated ad
something.
nauseum through the years, and it just came up in this episode again. Kind of, it's like, oh, the moons are in a perfect circle, and kind of goes, yeah,
Well,
too perfect, too perfect.
it's
And I keep hearing that line over and over, and I want to know where it's from now.
Well, planets are not perfect circles. I mean, isn't the Earth like actually weirdly shaped when you think about it, or do it properly?
TV
Yeah,
trope.
they're
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's just a trope. I was just curious about the trope because it just brought it to my mind.
yes. TV tropes says it is considered a dead horse trope, and I don't think they don't really have an origin for it. So
Okay.
means
Dead
it's
horse
so
means
far
Wow.
back.
they use it too much, or you can't use it anymore. Does it mean you're an idiot if you use it
I
now?
think it's kind of like you're a hack if you use
It's
it.
super cliche now.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And yet this was 50 years ago now almost. So I guess it's not quite cliche yet, but it just brought that thought back to my mind. And I thought, well, you guys seen a lot of films. Maybe you can remember one where
It
it
has
was
all these
originated.
films listed in alphabetical order, which does me no good at all.
Right.
Oh,
So,
A B
Gone with the Wind.
Chrysalis.
That's
A, B, C.
1939, right?
Yeah.
That's
Is it too
pretty
quiet
far
in
back.
there? Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
That might be
Gone with the
more.
Wind. Okay, I'll just take that as the first
That
one.
sounds
Yeah.
good.
I don't
That's
have
old
to go
enough.
back any further.
I'm not
It's
gonna
also
watch
the
it again.
origin. That's the origin of that cliche when you say it's gone with the wind.
Mm.
Yeah, that cliche that we all use every day.
Until
I
later we
say it
learn
all
to
the
run
time.
like the wind. Yes.
When someone's like, "Are there any cookies left?" and I say, "No, they're gone with the wind."
I want to talk about the interface with the balls, the
Yeah,
orbs. One, I
I like
was like,
that.
Steve Jobs taped this episode because Koenig uses a stylus. That's a no. Well, I guess you get an iPad now. You get an Apple Pencil if you want.
I
My
like that
daughter had to get
as a
one.
first contact, situation is like here, present them with diagrams and a way to draw, and then you can do that. That makes
Etch a
really good
sketch, first
sense.
contact. Yes.
What?
Yeah, although I'm
When
a
I
little dismayed that they hit on Earth so quickly because Koenig barely got out to Mars and said, "Oh, you're from Earth." It's like, could you at least draw Jupiter too, just to point out that because that seems like there's probably 10 million solar systems that have at least 4 planets in them. So how are you going to narrow it down to Earth?
Yeah, let's get
And
to
of course, they know all
Saturn.
about Earth. Yeah, they know all about Earth and can speak
Yeah.
English.
Because
So
in
they're very powerful. Another powerful race that knows all about Earth.
in some of the later Foundation books, they find the original Earth by finding
Yeah,
Saturn because apparently rings like that are extremely rare. So if you give
which
them
is probably
that,
not
maybe
true.
probably not true. But that was the Asimov's thing. But I'm saying the 70s, you can still rattle that off, and if they saw Saturn and oh yeah, okay, that's Earth. Which does make, I mean, they drew 3 circles and they figured it out where the Tabor couldn't figure it out. So I mean, he was
Yeah,
an idiot,
okay.
but
Yeah.
Chrysalis aliens 1, Tabor 0.
Yeah. I don't think that. I think that if the Tabor came to this planet, they'd just evaporate him immediately. Like these people have no time for Tabors.
Now, Brian, you've seen this before, I assume, but Mark, how did you respond when they were like, our masters haven't been born yet? What was your response for that?
I was my thought was just, is time going backwards here?
Oh, that
I
would have
think
been
that
cool too.
anything in my imagination said was unfortunately more interesting than the actual truth of it. Even though since the episode was called A B Chrysalis, I should have known exactly what was happening.
They did give you a hint. That is true.
Yes. I thought maybe, yeah, I thought maybe there was something more interesting going on because okay, this is a good 20 years before the Nod and All episode of Red Dwarf. So I wouldn't expect something as cool as everything going backwards.
And I think at that age, I probably was vaguely aware what chrysalis was. Maybe I've heard the word. I probably heard it in elementary school with regards to butterflies. So I may have been mildly confused by
It
it,
was a
but
good
I don't know.
psychedelic folk band in the late 60s with that name. I don't think they're that popular though.
In
Chrysalis
my
Records,
notes,
man.
Oh,
Remember
there's
Chrysalis
that,
yeah,
Records?
good stuff. Also, Black Moth Super Rainbow. Anyway, in my notes early on, I put, so this is going to be a giant space moth cocoon, right? It was not.
Well, in a way, I guess, if it's clouds and naked green people.
Didn't really get any winged creatures. Even the thing Maya turned into, I don't know if it had wings or not. It's hard to tell under all
who knows what
orange.
was going on with that thing? You certainly
That
you can
was
buy
one of
that
the
as an action
craziest-
figure. That'd be
I
a
think it
great
had a
action
craziest-
figure.
name.
Craziest suits that she had to, they had her transform into so
Yeah,
far.
I don't
think.
know if Catherine Snow had to get in that or not.
No,
but
I don't
that's
think
probably
she
No,
did.
it
CMO.
was that guy from the last episode who was the thing she turned into.
Oh yeah, you said that, didn't you?
I
in the
didn't put
trivia?
that. I didn't put that in my this week's trivia.
Yeah,
but
I was just assuming, they
Yeah.
weren't putting her in dumb costumes because, yeah, my first note actually in this one is her hair on acid this week because when they start the episode, she has like the most insane, like they just like the hairstylist just went nuts that day. Later in the
I think
episode,
last
things
week's-
toned down. So
I think last week's episode, her hair is more styled. Did
yeah,
you notice
the
her changed?
Oh yeah,
her
their
ears
makeup's a little
aren't
different. Yeah,
anymore, and the little sideburns are
Oh,
much more subdued because people were
they're trying to make her
upset
look less like a
around.
doggy, you know.
And her
the
makeup is on point basically all around in the hair. So they do a bit of revamp on her. And she looks good.
I saw this earlier. It's called a Kreno. That's what she turns into.
Okay.
I don't remember if she said that or not, but that is the canonical name for the thing. Is a
I have to
Kreno.
hope she said it because, well, I guess it could be in the novel and you could
Sure.
do it that way. But I
Or
mean,
the
there is no
script.
reason for her to say what it is, you
I'm
know.
sorry, I didn't look up the novel this week to see what it
It's,
said.
well, it
It's in
seems
the
it
script,
seems
and then Martin Landau wrote under it, "This is a buffoonish name for an animal."
did
That's
you just
not.
say that?
No, I
Okay.
made that up. I made that up.
I don't even know anymore,
Stop
you
that.
know.
We can't tell when you're serious or not when it comes to what Martin Landau thought of the scripts.
I
What is a
still want those. If anybody's listening,
I
I
know
want those scripts, baby.
we all want Martin Landau's handwritten notes from Space
Yeah,
1999.
yeah.
What is a voice probe?
It's a probe that talks.
I guess the balls are probes, but they don't go anywhere. That's not a probe if it doesn't go anywhere, right? Doesn't a probe have to probe something?
It's probing them from across the room. It
I was
Ooh.
hoping
bounces
that we'd
over and
get
probes
one of
them.
the black balls to do its bouncy thing too, but they kept using white ones.
Mm, well,
Well,
Don't know why.
this
No
show's
explanation.
racist.
yeah, the latent racism of Space
You said it,
1999.
man. I didn't say it.
Well, we didn't have any black people on this episode. We didn't see them in
They're
the medical bay today.
Well, the fact
we
they're on
should.
different daises and different colors, I almost thought it was like a chessboard when I first saw it,
Yeah,
right? It was like
right.
black pieces and white pieces. So.
Yeah. It is a weird time for balancing out your cast, though, because I guess Star Trek had a diverse cast, but it took quite a while for everyone else to really start doing that as well, like 30, 40 years almost.
Well, yeah, and then there's stuff happened like Shatner wouldn't allow Sulu to have his own ship or something like that. Was that? Am I imagining that? Wasn't that in one of the
There was
like
something like,
six?
I'm the star. Well, he gets his own ship in 6. Yeah.
Oh, isn't it like they're not in the same place ever in 6 because they were already feuding?
Except the
Is that
very
what it
last
was?
scene. Except the very last scene.
Oh God,
Because they have to have
man,
the whole crew stand together, right? Which you'd never get on Space 1999 because you're never quite sure at any point in time what the actual crew is.
I'm not taking sides. If you guys are listening, we love you both. If only one of you is listening, then you're the one that we care about. They're not listening.
I'm
I
Anyway,
know
glad
I know his opinions. I'll take a little more.
me too. Yes.
So I'm glad that the helmets have GoPros on them now. That's pretty cool.
That was cool. I put in my notes. Those
Why
are
weren't
cool
they there the whole
elements.
time?
Yeah.
Why don't they always have go? It's like someone thought this would be a good idea, and now, 50 years later, we see them on people's helmets when they're right around town.
Yep.
I did like that they kind of made a bit of a deal that, well, again, I'm sure Nick Tay was happy too, that they make a little bit of a deal about the fact that piloting out of that space elevator at the end would be pretty difficult.
That was a pretty good feat of flying. He had to fly up that narrow elevator shaft to get out, and
Yeah, it
Kirk's like,
definitely
"Good
wasn't the
job,
film
Alan."
just being reversed from earlier.
No, because it was lowered on an elevator,
Yeah.
so they had to lift off through
Yeah.
all that. Oh, I thought it
It was
funny when
cool.
it came down. It looks like, this looks exactly like the lunar surface, and
Yeah.
the elevator side looks exactly like the side of one of the Eagle landing pads. Never mind.
It was cool regardless. I mean,
Not supposed to notice those things.
So when I when we have the naked people in the chamber and the dude shows up, in my memory, I think I correctly kind of remember what the ladies look like, but in my memory I'm just like, and Ron Jeremy steps in between them. That's kind of like my memory of this. I guess he just had like a greasy look to him. Is that how you remember it?
Not Ron Jeremy greasy, no, but yeah, maybe
he's a
slight porn
Canadian rock
star-ish.
star.
Yeah.
Canadian
Anyway,
rock star with German singles.
yeah. Well,
Did you
anyway,
guys think that the first woman looked a little, well, because I suspect she's Dutch. She looked like Famke Janssen a little bit, Phoenix. Yeah, they said that's like maybe she's related, and I looked up and said no, she has hardly any credits. She's not related to anybody.
yeah, it might just
That's
be that
as opposed
part
to
of the
Sarah,
world
who
sort
went
of
on to
thing.
have a big career. This woman just
Yeah.
disappeared.
Well, she disappeared into the British royalty or something.
You said
Well,
Irish,
yeah, we
didn't
already
you?
had another actress do that, didn't we, last season? Married royalty, and we never
Well,
saw her again, right?
Well, in Maya, I mean, Catherine Schell came from royalty. Like her family just lost all
True.
their money because the Nazis took it. I think something like that.
Yeah.
Well, they
Anyway,
paid her a little bit of money for this, but not as much as they would have in series 1, probably.
the important thing is she carries herself like a important person, which is good because she's the star now.
Oh, here's my note. It just says Maya turned into a silly creature. Okay, that sounds good. Here, my smell-o-vision thing always comes to mind, and I did start wondering, like, they're like, we will make an atmosphere for you that you can breathe, and I was like, I bet it smells funny, like if an alien
Oh
creates
yeah.
an atmosphere, it's got to have, like last night when I came into the dining room and they'd had some smelly fish that night, and the whole room smelled funky. I'm like, maybe the planet smells like that in this chamber.
I would think that it smells like the inside of an airplane.
I
Maybe,
think it
but they're
smells like a
aliens. They
swimming
don't
pool
know.
because there's chlorine gas. There's probably just trace elements of chlorine, all over the place. So that's what
Yeah,
I'm
it's like
saying.
when you clean a room or you using
So it
something
probably
like that
smells
in the
very
stove.
antiseptic.
Yeah.
Probably smells like a pool.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It smells like a pool,
Yeah.
like the
I
chlorine
hear
filter or
a fun
whatever.
work story with Maddie, who comes up on podcasts sometimes. I remember several years ago we're cleaning the school and he was using alcohol to clean the tables, and then someone was like, "No, use the other stuff," which I don't. And then he comes to me, he's like, "Man, don't go in there. I think I just chloroformed us all." So I guess
Sure.
I would say it's like
We're
chlorine
all dead
alcohol or
now.
something. Yeah. Well, chloroform, and then you just walk in and pass out, I guess. But he's like, "Yeah, don't go there. I think I just chloroformed us all." It's like, okay. Um, well, my last note, I've basically just been sitting here bopping through my notes in order. So my last note is just, I bet Tony is skiing this week, but as we learned from trivia, he is actually in the Catacombs of the Moon, which I guess are different catacombs than we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Well, is he just filming that episode, or is he actually doing something down there that while all this chaos is going on upstairs? Oh, I missed out on these multiple attacks and explosions.
Why are we shaking again in the Catacombs of the Moon?
But Helena is probably in the same episode too with him again, right?
She just
And
gets
so,
like
but she shows up in this one
for like 3
from time to time.
minutes.
Yeah,
much
but at
as
least
they
she pops
could.
in. She doesn't see Tony at all.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It's kind of like how Maya and Koenig would just pop up. And next week, I think we don't see Koenig at all. I believe that's the one Landau is not in at all.
Well,
at all.
we've seen episodes where Tony figures very heavily, so maybe that's just next week is just going to be too busy.
Some heavy Tony for you. Make up for this week.
I'm not aware of any of these double up episodes like actually weaving that into the narrative, even though that would be nice.
That would make sense.
A modern show would do that.
Arrested Development did that, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean
that's just pure episodics. They don't care. They're just saying, "Oh, they're away for now. They'll be back next time." You guys have any favorite lines from this episode? I was going to ask.
Oh, come on, yeah, I did them up front, right? Spatial explosions of unknown origin, and there's some sort of that was my favorite line. So
I like
you look well featured.
Yeah.
Don't you mean handsome? I already said. Yeah.
Speaking alien talk. That's alien talk.
Oh, Alan saying, "Hey, good old clean air."
Maybe I said it's chlorinated.
That's the best kind of air is good old clean air. It's old.
That's why I didn't join the swim team. I couldn't handle that room. It'd give the swim room, the pool room. It'd give me a headache within like, 2 minutes.
Oh, so you wouldn't like it on this planet then?
No, I probably wouldn't.
I mean, I liked blast procedure as a line, and I ironically liked the saying the circle was almost too perfect because that is a very
perfect circle. Your favorite band.
Yeah,
that's the only part where the only part of my notes where I wrote a big long all caps thing that said how perfect is too perfect. It's a planet. They're all circles.
No, Earth is not a circle. It's a weird malformed egg shape. It's like a misshapen voodoo donut,
People think nature's perfect, but it's not so perfect.
Yeah.
Ellipses and
spheroids. Perfect sphere planet run by spheres. That's pretty cool.
What do you guys think? Hollow Earth? Yes or no?
Yeah, sure. King Kong lives there.
Expanding Earth? What about that?
I don't know that one. So flat Earth, that's a fun
flat Earth.
Yeah.
Ice
wall, Antarctic ice wall. That's some fun stuff.
What Lemuria or Atlantis?
Right.
Atlantis, yes or no?
You go through
Yeah,
the
sure,
big
why not?
the North Pole, and you go straight down, and you're in the area.
I just
Yeah.
did 3 hours on Atlantis. Sure, I want Atlantis.
What about Hollow Moon?
Yeah, it rings like a bell.
Oh, my
Nice.
favorites was from national, maybe not the National Enquirer, one of Weekly World News or something. Moon is giant space alien skull.
All right. Oh,
Yay.
yes, that's
I
awesome.
love this.
That's
Okay,
why.
one
Of
more.
course, in Japan, they don't see a man in the moon. They see a rabbit making mochi.
Is that
It's
why
true.
that one techno group is called Rabbit in the Moon?
I
I
guess
guess
so.
it is. Okay, I get
Making
one more.
mochi.
Hollow
more what?
Uranus.
One more time.
Hollow Uranus.
Of course.
What time? Sorry. Okay. Um,
So look at my notes. I said, "Oh, the masters are cicadas." Okay,
yeah, they kind of are. This is like about the
they
cicadas.
come out
It's-
every so many years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I figured they're like broods of cicadas. I say, well,
Mm.
that's kind of timely since we have some cicada action happening this year.
Brood
Couple
X.
cicadas.
Let's go hard sci-fi and softcore sci-fi for this episode. Your percentages.
I'm
The
gonna
soft core.
go. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna give this 80% hard sci-fi and 20% existential dread. Just throw it back.
Okay, I was actually going to ask that question too for this episode, but sure,
Oh,
go for
well,
it.
okay. Yeah, sure.
I mean, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. So I'm
Yeah, you
thinking
could say. Go ahead.
I was just thinking 70% hard. 30 since we're using the term softcore, we have the booty chamber, so that can't be lower than 30%.
Yeah.
So with that first contact stuff and the chlorine gas and the explosions in space and the hardware and stuff, I'd say at least 60 hard sci-fi. Definitely 20 soft core with the naked aliens, and then 20 more of existential dread on top of that.
20's not on the hard side. See, I feel like Existential Dread is a little more in line with hard sci-fi.
You think there's more dread? Hard sci-fi equals dread?
I mean, what was the question
Yeah.
from series one? It was sci-fi fun versus existential dread, which I
Fun.
kind of, when Mark, once you start answering, it's like, maybe I shouldn't ask you again. So I'm like, well, I'll probably just say 70-30 again. 70 on the dread side, though. There's a lot of dread in this episode. I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of dread. I don't think this was particularly a fun episode, even though I thought it was great. But I guess the most fun thing is Maya turning into a weird looking creature that eats chlorine,
A silly creature.
a silly creature.
And it made
I don't
sense
know.
that she was like, suffocating the second she turned into it. It's like, oh no,
Yeah.
gotta get her inside the room now.
Get her in the methane room.
Yeah,
That does seem
that's
weird.
extra
Like,
point
that
for the
answers,
hearts.
it changes her physiology as well. So now we know that, in case you're wondering. Because what was it a few weeks ago?
Wait.
Well, it was a Luton where Conan's like, oh, you can't change anything to take these creatures. Like, maybe she can if she can change her physiology.
Well, yeah, when she
Mm.
turns into a rock, does she need to breathe? I guess not.
Mm.
She's a rock.
For an hour. Keep in mind it's an hour. So if it was
For
like
an
a
hour.
long-term solution, then no good.
That'd be great if you ran out of air. You just turn into a rock for an hour.
right. But
Well,
then
the
the hour
rock-
after, that's a problem.
Little Maya inside the rock. You could hear her crying, Raider's death, Raider's death.
No, you turn into an oxygen generating machine for an hour, and then you turn back into a person that breathes. You
Yeah,
just do
that's
that
why I
forever.
wrote when they were landing at the main place here, because it was green. I was like, don't land there. Green's the death color.
It's not always. Remember, purple was the death color last week,
Yep.
2 weeks ago.
Yep. Every
One of
color
those
can
weeks.
kill you at some point in time.
Yep.
Any final thoughts y'all want to throw out on this guy?
I miss Tony.
You
I
missed
would-
Tony. Okay.
Tony the whole episode.
I liked more Alan, no Tony. That actually did it.
I
for
thought we were
me.
going to come back, and at the end of the episode, we're just going to have a wake for Tony because he got died in the first attack.
He died in the first explosion. I miss Tony, even though I hope he wasn't holding us back, because I did really love this episode, and I also hope this isn't the last we'll see of whatever they're trying to do now. Like whatever this is working for me, and I hope they do more of it.
Well, the standard narrative says there is like a little uptick in the late part of the season too, when they were like, maybe we should not
Yeah.
make crap.
Well, and
Yeah, I would say the
we're not
last
really
4
halfway
episodes
through.
were more solid than a lot of the previous ones. Well, actually, the last 6, maybe, if you include like the 2-parter. It gets
Hmm.
more interesting, I think. Let's see. Oh, I was gonna say when everybody assumes crash positions, Helen's crash position is holding
Final
up the
position.
wall.
Final position. And
She's
then
like holding up the wall. She's literally leaning
Yeah,
against. That's her crash
and
it doesn't make
position.
any sense.
Koenig just holds
Everyone
his
else ducked and
ears.
covered. Yeah. Yeah, everyone else was duck and
Well,
cover. Duck and cover, duck and cover. They all remember their duck and cover, but
Well, not Koenig. He just holds his ears like, it's going to be
Barbara was over there
loud.
holding that wall up
We
so to
don't
make sure it
like
would not
loud
fall
noises.
down.
Well, I remember the 2011 earthquake or 2011 earthquake in Japan. I was teaching a class at the time on the 6th floor and eventually was just holding the whiteboard to the wall so it would stop flopping around.
Oh wow, you were in the middle of that. That's right.
You know, it was exciting. It was like the earthquake right at Universal.
Wow.
yikes.
Oh, did you guys like the fact that Koenig had got Kirk's speech? You know, this is what's
Oh,
wrong
yeah.
with you aliens.
Well, yeah,
Um,
Mark put it in his
Yeah.
summary.
He put in the description, yeah. And
I
it
don't
seemed
know
to
if
work.
I don't know if I would necessarily say that loyalty is better than logic in all cases, or even most cases, but whatever, it worked.
Hey, Brian, do you get earthquake alarms on your phone in California?
I've gotten a few, but I haven't
What do
actually
they
seen an
do?
earthquake
Because
follow.
I woke up at
It's like
6:30.
the emergency alert goes burp, burp, burp.
Okay, because we got I got at 6:30 in the morning Monday space battleship Yamato earthquake
What?
earthquake.
It
That was
does
the
that?
yes,
Wait, it was in English?
Earthquake.
yeah, because my phone's set in English.
Okay, that's good that it knows you. I don't know
So
what
I guess it,
Japanese is for earthquake. I would just be lost and then suddenly I'd be
yeah,
killed, I guess.
but that's an interesting way to wake up in the morning.
I've never experienced an earthquake here because I've slept through any ones that we've ever had.
Anyway,
though,
there was no earthquake, at least where I was. There was one
Huh.
in the spot that had one in January, but apparently it just shook them around and didn't damage things this time.
That's like north of you, right?
Northwestish, yeah.
Hmm.
It's not that
Yeah,
close.
I remember looking at the map and being like, oh, should I check and make sure Matt and Luke are okay? Then I looked at the map, I was like, oh, it's nowhere near them. They're fine.
Yeah. I guess we wind this one down. Mark, why don't you tell them where we're at?
We are at patreon.com/podcasties. You can listen. I always say see. You can listen to outtakes. You can send money for serve bills. You can check out other podcasts like Films and Filth, the Citizen Kane of podcasts. Brian is on often. Matt and I are on usually.
Usually
Time
everything.
enough podcast about Twilight Zone. Matt is always on it. I'm on sometimes, and Brian is on sometimes. And Occult Disney, Matt is always on that. And Luke Loves Pokemon, where Matt, none of us are ever on that. And Game Show,
I think
where
I was
some
on
of
it
us.
once.
Oh, okay. I haven't caught up with that because there are 3,000 episodes. Right. Okay, 1,000, but still. Hyrule Field Report is over probably, but
I
you
was
can
never
listen
on
to it
that.
anyway. Go back and listen
Why
to
would
it.
I be on that?
I
It
was
would
on
make
that.
sense.
I was on that. And Def lost my train of thought. And Game Show, I said probably already. I think that's all of them.
No, you didn't, because I could be like, I was on it a few times. You
You
were
can
on there a
shout
few
out
times.
some of the no longer being produced but still out there ones. Of course.
Oh yeah.
Still find
Matt
no
and Luke's
oral
Sci-Fi
hygiene.
Sanctuary. There's Oral Hygiene, and there's In Prison to Prison.
That's
And
true.
the Prisoner Prison Cat. I remembered it.
It's true. Way to go. Yeah.
Despite your attempt to make it hard to remember, I remembered what it was called.
I think I
Especially if
attempted
you're
to
into
make it
weird
hard to
British
say.
TV. Yeah, if you're into weird British TV, if you're listening to us, you should go
Watch
listen to
that show.
Yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
too.
Yeah,
that
for
show
sure.
too.
Even if
Okay.
you don't listen to our podcast, watch the show. Just watch the show at least.
We ought to drag Luke in here at least for one Space 1999 since it is a British show and he's British.
We find the worst one and bring him in for that.
Yeah, but I could use the
what is this we're watching?
I could throw at you like if I was really big, oh, you're American, why don't you do my Full House podcast? You know?
I would show up for one episode of that and not know what I was there for, and I'd be fine with that. Not all of it, but anyway.
For now, I'm gonna get naked and take a green smoke bath.
I'm gonna go get bath lessons from Maya.
I'm gonna go assume blast procedure.
Final procedure.
Final Procedure.
Oh, was it? Now I have to look at my notes again. No,
You said
last. You're
Blast
right. I'm
Procedure.
wrong. You're right. I'm thinking of Final Destination, where you would do a last procedure.
I think he said Blast Procedure.
Blast. I
Did he
didn't
say Last Procedure?
last. Oh, was it blast? Okay, that
Yeah, I
makes
think it
more
was
sense.
Blast Procedure.
Now it's coming.
They
up
were
in the
preparing
sense.
for a
That's-
blast, so that makes sense.
That's why I said it was one of my favorite lines. It wasn't because it was Last Procedure. I mean, that would be kind of cool.
Okay, that works.
No, no else.
I will stop the recording. I guess you gotta go work. I gotta go work. I'll catch you for some soups tomorrow.
All right, yeah, it's time for nuclear man, like Lex Luthor keeps saying.
Let me know if I need to watch this movie someday because I've avoided it for 40 years.
No,
You don't have to watch it.
you
You don't have to watch
Watch
it.
Superman 4. You have it though. I bet you have it.
I
Do
was going to use
Superman
the
6.
excuse of doing the podcast if I had a chance to watch the movie.
No, I got that set from like 20 years ago. It's not
Oh,
showing.
wow.
Yeah, but
If you like Superman enough that you would just be on board just because Superman is doing it, then you'll be fine. I'm just
It's
not
just so
like
weird.
that.
It's like the last time we see Christopher Reeve in that role, and it's just
Yeah.
kind of like
that's a bummer.
And he's part of the reason it was bad because there was something like he was feuding with the guy who directed, and he directed a bunch of scenes himself, and I think he vetoed something. I don't have all of it in my trivia. I'm like compiling more of trivia for it because there's so much shit about it.
So that's for Patreon crowd. That's I guess that's one click up from this link. If
yeah,
'cause I doubt I'm going to post this one right now. Okay, laters.